Good afternoon, John here. Doing a little different video for you guys today, and this is in response to one of the subscribers. This is about the 12-inch display, or at least my impression of the 12-inch display. Your results in miles per gallon may differ based on your conditions. Right now, I do not have my iPhone plugged in. It is simply Bluetooth. And the reason for that is because I have CarPlay set up, the entire screen is going to react differently with the iPhone plugged in. I'm going to guess it might be the same for the Android, but since I don't own one, I can't tell you. And here's one of the big differences, is the fact that in the Bluetooth mode, I can select both top card and bottom card. I can put navigation up there. I can put navigation down there. Whereas the moment I plug in the phone, it's only going to work one way. Or at least that's how it's worked for me. In case you want to know the closest weather. So here we are, I don't know, 5,500, 6,000 feet in the mountains, and the closest weather it found for me is Anaheim, Disneyland. So, I don't know, for some of you, you might find that travel link helpful. I sure don't. Since I'm hooked up Bluetooth, I was able to pull up the music, phone, recent numbers, and once we plug in the phone, you'll see how it's completely different. Of course, since this is a Ram Cadillac, we got to have all those comfort features. These are all definable as to what you want down here across the bottom. This is your home key. And the moment I hit the home key, it immediately changed the whole appearance of the screen. You can see how it changed things around. The source of my phone, the temporarily free XM radio, so on and so forth. The little tool button is how you go in and do your various customizations. You can see that I have this kind of brown background. That's actually user selected. So lights, door lights, seats, engine off, options, trailer brake, which is interesting considering the payload, so on and so forth. So you have a bunch of settings that you can do there. And then, like I said, you also have the ability to decide what you want across the bottom. You notice I have the off-road pages. This is a cool feature. It takes a few minutes for it to crank up. You would think it's maps. Looks like, it's going to come up with some map feature. No, not at all. You're going to laugh, but I have found this, the fact that I sleep in the back of my truck, I have found this helpful in terms of leveling the truck. There's our forward-facing camera. You'll love this one because I have the shell. Look, you can see my bedroll, but look at that heck of a view with the shell on there. Here's our surround. The cameras that are on the mirrors. You know, we can sit and I guess you can do your own surveillance with it. You know, obviously that's off the tailgate. And of course, to me, the one that I really like the most, obviously, is forward, especially when, you know, when you've seen in some of my videos and I'm traveling out here in the backcountry and the road goes up and down. You know, it's really nice to be able to look forward and see what's in front of you. This is kind of interesting, the vehicle dynamics, because when you, let's say, unlock the sway bar, or you engage the rear locker, or you go from 2 high to 4 high to 4 low, so on and so forth, it actually indicates it on this screen. Oh, 6,007 feet is where we're at, and there's our lat and long. Accessory gauges. 31 psi on the oil pressure, 213 degrees Fahrenheit on the coolant, yada yada yada. Kind of a cool screen. You know, probably a bigger deal when, you know, it's really hot outside or you're really working the truck. You know what I'm talking about. Here's more of the settings that you can fool around with. Kind of a different appearance. You know, obviously, we're back to climate control. And, oh, God, the heated seats and steering wheel. Kind of a cool little feature there. So, in terms of the 12-inch, now we're going to plug the iPhone in. And we're going to go over here and tell it, okay, connect to Apple CarPlay. Now, when we hit home, you know, the navigation popped up. Well, that's not the navigation, that is Gaia. And the Apple CarPlay features popped in here. So, for the smaller standard equipment screen, I'm going to assume that that is very similar. And when I looked at the 2020, I believe some of these were actual switches. They were. I couldn't tell you what they were. But now that we have the iPhone plugged in, we'll hit the nav. We're going to hit the nav. And, you know, we're right below Strawberry Peak. All of a sudden it went to full screen. You notice I can't, unlike with the phone unplugged where you could have it up here or down here, notice no bueno. Media is slightly different until you hit the go button. You know, the phone is going to be up here at the top, unlike being able to pop it to the bottom. You know, the CarPlay, you know, it's kind of cool. Now, I've never had Gaia on another vehicle. It's kind of buggy to me, because if I'm dinking around and switching back and forth to other things, I come back and instead of keeping current as to where I'm at, it's essentially I have to go hit the panning, hit stop panning, and all of a sudden it brings me back to where I'm supposed to be, which you're not going to see that right now because we're not moving. You know, messages, phone, music, apps, calendar. You can do audiobooks. There's Gaia, there's Google Maps, there's Waze. So, if you prefer, yes, I've said 22 times and counting. If you prefer to use a different navigation system that supports Apple CarPlay, it's going to be in here. The application has to support Apple CarPlay to show up. So just because you have it on your iPhone doesn't mean that it's going to show up in this screen. And I like the large navigation screen. I'm going to compare this against my 2016 Toyota Tacoma. In terms of going someplace, I have found that it's easier to pop in an address than it is in this. At least for me. Your results might vary 180 degrees from mine. The other thing that I've noticed is in the Apple CarPlay mode, we're driving along and we can't stop and we want to be safe, blah, 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 blah. Oh, look at that. Soka University, because I went and got my COVID shot. And we're out in Quartzsite. One of the things I found with Apple CarPlay is that, and I got to get the book out and read the manual to make sure it's not a John goof up. And if you know different, get right on me. Is in the CarPlay mode on the steering wheel, I can't seem to get the little voice buttons on the left to work. And, I'm sure Bluetooth, they probably work fine. But there's different ways to find things in the nav. And then once you get it in there, it seems to work really well. And you've seen it on some of my other videos where it does have most of the Forest Service roads on there. The BLM routes are on there. I did, when I was out on the Mojave Road, there were a couple times where even Gaia was kind of acting up on me. And I knew I was actually on the designated route. But between the two of them, they were kind of struggling with it. I know this is an expensive option. And, of course, you've probably seen that all the other manufacturers are now jumping on the bandwagon and offering these larger screens. I like it. But if you're really looking at cost and you're not, gadget conscious, maybe you don't want this and maybe you don't want to spend the extra money. That's a decision that you have to make on your own. And like I said, I know that when you look at the non 12-inch screen, there's a handful of switches here. God, and I want to say that they're related to the climate control. Hopefully, John's opinion or John's explanation or John's use of this display is helpful to you, and maybe you need to go down to the dealer and play with a truck with and without, like I did, or search YouTube for some other people that have done reviews and basically make your own opinion and your own judgment as to really what is the best fit for your needs and for your budget. Hopefully that helps. Catch you on the next one, and always tread lightly.